Okay, so we are on lesson number 284, Workbook of the Course in Miracles. I can elect to change all thoughts that hurt. And remember, the contemplation that we're utilizing for these lessons is that what is the Holy Spirit? And I've always, this is a good lesson because it does give you, in a sense, the basis of the process. The basis of the process that one goes through in the utilization of the principles of A Course in Miracles when perhaps at first they're just ideas and concepts that you'd like to entertain because, for whatever the reason, you've been led to the Course, or for whatever the reason the Course has made its way to you. I'm just remembering something as I said that, and it's concerning the Sparkle edition. There's a line in the Course, there's a line in the notes actually, when Jesus says that, I'm going to paraphrase it. Let me see if I can. And I was given, in a sense, this was something that I came to understand when we began to publish the Sparkle edition, when we began to make it available. And the truth is, when your mind is ready, remember it's a required course. Okay, let me see if I could say this the right way. Jesus asks Helen and Bill, and it came to me and my attention at a certain point in time, that the Course was Jesus' Course. He's in charge of space and time. It goes to that part. Jesus, because he's the first one, and this is where the Course goes from being something that is merely a conceptual philosophy or theoretical framework to, more of a personal, how should I say it, personal testimony from a brother to another brother based on one brother's understanding of the totality of the lessons that we all must learn, and his ability, to work with the Holy Spirit to determine readiness. And this is where things begin to break down for some people who don't want to let this become a really personal adventure with you and the author through the text and the workbook, and through your life, through the utilization of the guidance that you begin to get. Jesus mentions that these books will get to those who he feels are ready to utilize them. Now, that was one of the reasons why I never thought I would ever sell a Sparkly edition, because there was something about the contact between us as the ones who were given the task to publish the Sparkly edition and those who were directly asking us for the books. There was something about that connection that I've always enjoyed, and I always felt like they had the hand of Jesus in it. And it took me a while, just like this lesson talks about, and it's the same process. It took me a moment to realize that Jesus could operate the same way, even if the books were made available for sale. So it's a generalization of what I saw in my mind and I envisioned through my understanding applied. And as I continued to look at what it is I've been doing with my life, with the Holy Spirit. We in a sense go through the process that this lesson indicates, lesson 2A4. But there was something I want to say why I was laughing in the beginning, and it's really homage to the ability for the Holy Spirit to be with me always, and my guides to be with me always, and they are always ever ready to provide me with answers when I request them or require them, or they think on a need-to-know basis, which is how Jesus deals with Helen. And so I've always wondered at the use of the term elect, and he does use it a couple of times, but I can elect. Most of the time in the Course, the term is decide. In this lesson, he uses the term, I can elect to change all thoughts that hurt me. And as I was sitting here, wondering prior to doing the lesson, prior to doing the commentary, why it was so, all of a sudden, and it is true, that the answer that you get conceptually, for me, comes with an experience of understanding that is more a sense of joining with the light of understanding. So you just see, in a sense, the perfection in what's occurring. And in the moment that I had, what I was told was the reason why the term elect was used was because it's the Father and the Holy Spirit have already voted to not have thoughts that would possibly hurt or hurt at all. So they are only awaiting your vote as well to allow them to do what they have already been doing. So the reason for the election was because everyone has a say in the utilization. Everyone participates. The Father created us perfect and gave us the Holy Spirit to mediate, as we read, between our thoughts, so that we can translate the thoughts of pain into thoughts of love, thereby translating all our thoughts of illusion into thoughts of truth and no longer requiring illusion anymore. So it's by election. They've already voted and just they're awaiting our vote, which is sort of funny. Now, would that conceptual answer satisfy people? I don't really know. But the experience that comes when my mind is open, and I can't, and I have used the word unequivocal many times in the past few days. My mind is unequivocal when it comes to the fact that I don't know the answer. I don't know why Jesus would use these words. I have to ask Jesus. And that's the process that I went through from the very beginning of utilizing the Course. Learning to read with him so that he can show me his meaning. And when I have a problem, or some sort of, how should I say it, something that's disharmonious within me, in my relationship to reading material, all that I would do was what I did at the beginning, which is why this becomes so easy, because I could just stop and say, okay, I need help, I don't understand this, and I can feel the positioning of my mind, the shift that takes place when when I'm ready to hear and when I'm ready to receive an answer. A shift takes place in my mind, and I don't know how to say this, what opens up is another side of my mind in which there is light and love and experience, and sometimes comes a conceptual phrase to help me, many times quite funny ones, and certainly unexpected ones in situations when I've been in relationships with people, but there's always an experience of brightness or understanding or light and love and connectedness that comes. Now, the process that I have gone through is very similar to this one. Loss is not loss when properly perceived. Pain is impossible. Okay, period. Pain is impossible. Okay, now, I want to say something about this. When it says pain is impossible, That doesn't mean that if you experience pain, you say, I don't have pain. What it means is it's not something to judge yourself by or to use in a form of denial in order to prove to someone, including yourself, that you may know what these lessons are saying. They're statements designed to help us look at the situations we're in order to open our mind to the Holy Spirit, who mediates between pain and joy, who allows us to use an experience of pain, which is impossible in reality, yet quite possible in our own mind because we have it. It allows us to have the experience of pain without denying the pain, the acceptance that if pain is impossible in the kingdom, there's a recognition of I must be doing it to myself, then a turning over to my mind and heart to God through the Holy Spirit for an understanding that shows me that pain being impossible is a way to utilize an experience that I'm having that we call pain to allow my mind to open for healing. Okay? It's not to deny that we experience pain. No, I don't pain. I'm never in pain. That's not pain. Don't jump the gun. Allow yourself to utilize that which is given, the Holy Spirit, to mediate the experience when something does show up that hurts. Accept the fact that that is your experience. Accept everything exactly as, let all things be exactly as they are. And then, in the midst of that, use the pain in the recognition of the impossibility of pain as being part of who we are in reality. So therefore, part of the illusion, use that as an opening to bring what we required, our mind and our heart, to the Holy Spirit, without the meaning we have written on everything, so that new meaning and new experience can be written in our mind and our heart. There is no grief with any cause at all. Okay, it does not say there is no grief. It says there's no grief with any cause at all. The admission of the fact that there is grief is the statement that there is no grief, but the grief has no cause at all. And true cause is what God is. So God would never cause grief, which is the poorest thing. So here's another thing. There is no grief with any cause at all. So if God does not cause us grief and we're in the experience of grief, then somewhere in our minds and our hearts, we're not seeing things correctly. And once again, this isn't to judge ourselves or judge, this is the more ridiculous one, to judge our awakening and enlightenment. Because the awakening and enlightenment is based on release from judgment and definition. So it's not there to judge. They're there to help us open our mind. There is no grief. Okay. There is no grief with any real cause. Okay. So if I'm grieving, there must be it must have cause within me, and I'm not perceiving properly. So here's another way, a moment for us to open our minds instead of trying to deny it or make light of it or pretend it's not there so that we can be holier and more spiritual than someone. We use these things to bring to the Holy Spirit to help him, to allow ourselves to foster a condition in which we allow ourselves to make our mind and heart available to the Holy Spirit to do the job that he's given to, that we've been reading every day for a contemplation. And suffering of any kind is nothing but a dream. Okay, not that you don't suffer, but suffering is a dream. Okay, you've given dream causation and forgotten that God is your cause. Now that's the turnaround. But you can't just say that conceptually. You have to allow the experience to make the turnaround for you, because the Holy Spirit is the great turner arounder. Okay, now this isn't, I don't want to get to this part though. This is the truth. At first to be but said, and then repeated many times. And next to be accepted as but partly true with many reservations. Then to be considered seriously more and more, and finally accepted as the truth. I can elect to change all thoughts that hurt. And I would go beyond these words today, past all reservations, and arrive at full acceptance of the truth in them. Okay? This is admitting that there's a process. And today, having recognized the process, we can make and commit our mind 100% to the truth of the process as being in the acceptance without reservation of the fact that I can elect to change all thoughts that hurt now, and next time a thought or an experience of hurt or anything's pain, grief comes, the stopping of our mind and heart in the recognition of our decision that we've made and the allowance for the Holy Spirit to step in so that we could have the experience. Father, what you have given cannot hurt, so grief and pain must be impossible. Let me not fail to trust in you today, accepting but the joyous as your gift, accepting but the joyous as the truth. And there, within the wholeness of the experience of who we are in reality, is the alignment and convergence of joy and truth as being one. So the key, every experience of joy, every experience of truth will allow for the experience of joy to occur. And in moments of joy, generally speaking, we've arrived at the truth, because in a true moment of joy, we've let go of anything of the. In a sense, you get so happy, you don't attribute the cause to something in the world, and in a moment of forgetting, in a moment of releasing yourself from cause in the world, there's an instant of brightness of the truth that inserts itself where previously you would have tried to connect the dots. Because you can't, you leave the space, and the brightness allows the joy to be experienced in the light of the truth that occurs when you let this be so, and see in this you could see the whole entire process is contained in the paragraph, and you could see how your mind will naturally move from one thing to the other, because it's been through processes before where it's done this until it's finally integrated the truth. Even though it may have been illusion, your mind was capable of integrating the illusion, so it must be capable of integrating the truth. It's just simply the utilization for a different purpose. So at first we've had these lessons that free us from the illusion, Father, with forgiveness for ourselves, and now we're having lessons of utilizing the power of our mind to recognize the truth of who we are, because we've learned that we could utilize our mind to make up untruth about ourselves and be totally convinced that they're real and true. Okay, so today I can elect to change all thoughts that hurt. Lesson 284. Remember, the Holy Spirit and God have already voted. The Holy Spirit and God had already voted, and Jesus is awaiting your vote too. And the moment you vote, you'll join with him, and the election will be over. And you'll recognize in an instant that it is possible to elect to change the thoughts that hurt. And in the experience of the outcome of doing that one time, you'll see the joy of salvation and your ability to do it continually when you watch your mind for the moments when it's time to cast your vote. Okay, you guys go ahead. Have a good day. Right.